Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the 42nd episode of the Quest Podcast. I'm your host, Dark Optimus, for the evening, and we're going to get right into it with our very special guest, Saltiest Gamer. What is up, bro? Gaming. No, sorry, gaming.
Yeah, hey, it's an easy mistake to make. You know, I wanted that, but a lot of people, I guess, had it. So it's Saltiest Gaming. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. I got my my monster here. I'm ready to go. I'm hyped for today's topics. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I'm always hyped for our topics, man. Hell yeah.
Right.
And introducing our other panel members. M. Baines, what's up, bro?
What's going on, everybody? Ready for the podcast. Glad to have Leo and Salty on here. Let's go.
Remix.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Still under the weather. Sorry if my voice sounds weird, because I feel like it does. But I'm ready to get on into these topics anyways, because Thursday night is always a good night.
And it sounds the same, dude.
No, dude. I have, like, 5 minutes ago, my voice, it changed. It changed.
You can just tell? All right.
That's called puberty.
Damn. And we got Yukon Cornelius back with us. What is up, dude?
I'm so very hyped.
So hyped? Are you?
Can you tell? Can you tell?
Just not even going to introduce yourself. You're just going to be like,
dude, this is why you can't end it off with Leo, because
I know. It's terrible.
Hey, I'm that guy that does the thing and says the stuff. How's it going? All right. Better.
All right. We're going to get into what have we been playing this week. And we're going to start off with our special guest, Saltiest Gaming. What have you been playing, man?
Yo, I actually got invited to the Sea of Thieves Alpha. I've been waiting to get into that, and me and two of my other buddies, we got into that game. I can't talk about it, so I'm not gonna spoil the NDA, but let's just say I'm happy to be playing that. But beyond that, I've been playing Warframe. I don't know if you guys have heard of the game or play it. It's a free to play game, and I was playing Destiny 2 for a while, but the end game content in Destiny 2 is kind of garbage, and they've been losing their player base. I think they lost like 70% of their player base, and it's just because of the practices of Bungie and Activision. So I just went back to Warframe and just diving into that, because they're going to be having an expansion coming out pretty soon. It's not really an expansion. It's called it's like a free update. But they're going to be implementing this massive open world, the Plains of Adelon. So, yeah, man, just been going hard in that game. And
nice.
Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Baines, what have you been playing, man?
Zelda, and more Zelda. That's about it.
Dang, you all up in that Zelda, huh?
Yep, pretty much.
All right, man.
A great game.
Nice. Remix, what have you been playing?
Yeah, I've been. I got into a few matches of Siege the other day, and I played some Black Ops 2 with a buddy on my floor. So yeah, that's been fun. A little bit of gaming in there. So that's
you actually got some gaming in this week.
Yeah, I know. It's been a bit. I got some gaming in.
Nice, dude. And Yukon, what have you been playing, man?
I've been assassinating people left and right is what I've been doing, because Assassin's Creed Origins is way, way better than I thought it was going to be. I kind of jumped in because of the whole Egypt thing. You know, that looks cool. Everybody always wanted an Egypt setting for Assassin's Creed. There's been like 1,000 of these games. When we're going to get Egypt, we finally did, and it's better than I've ever. I've been comparing it to The Witcher 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you on that one. I've been playing the Assassin's Creed Origins as well, and damn, dude, the game is just so good. I'm loving it. I consider it probably one of the best in the series so far. You know, considering I love 2, and you know me and 2, and you and your Black Flag. Yeah. But I think honestly, it might even be better than 2. In terms of just like gameplay and just being able to do different things in the game. But that's all I've been really playing is just Assassin's Creed as well. And we're going to get into the topics this evening. So Super Mario Odyssey is fast-selling Mario game of all time, well, ever in the U.S. What do you guys think about this? I mean, it kind of. Do you think the Switch is going to continue to push out these kind of games that are going to just sell like hotcakes, or you just think it's going to plateau eventually? What do you guys think?
Well, I think this game is more about, you know, the nostalgia effect of Mario, even though, you know, from what I've heard and what I've seen, I mean, the game does look good, but, you know that the first, like, platforming Mario that dropped on the Switch was going to sell like gangbusters, so it shouldn't really be a surprise.
Right.
Yeah,
And
but you also kind of, I mean, like, yeah, it's gonna sell well, but in terms of like, does it deserve to sell well? You also kind of said that about Zelda, and now that you're playing Zelda, you're like, damn, yeah, I definitely agree with what everybody said when Zelda first came out.
Oh yeah, I'm not. What I was saying didn't have anything to do with whether I think it's good or not, because I haven't played it. I'm just saying that, you know, I think it's selling as well as it's done as it has is because people have been wanting a Mario platformer, Mario like this for a long time. I mean, this is, I mean, the last one dropped, I don't know when, so it was a while ago. People were waiting for this. So, you know, that along with the nostalgia is why it's sold so much. Now, to speak to how the game is, I've seen some game footage that look cool. I have it, I just haven't played it yet. So,
yeah, if I could give my take on this whole situation. So Mario is just iconic, you know, and Nintendo is doing really well with the Switch. So those two combinations just are, you know, recipe for a top-selling game. It's an easy combo. It's an easy win for them. Plus, you know, they did well with this Mario game. It's just, you know, they made a lot of innovations with it, you know, with the way the game's made, and upgraded it in some areas that it needed to be upgraded. I personally, you know, left the Nintendo situation back when I was a kid, but that's what I had growing up. You know, I had Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. So the Switch is in an interesting position right now because they don't really need to follow trends or do what, you know, Sony or Microsoft are doing. They kind of do their own thing and make a lower powered system that's a hybrid, that's more of a portable device, and they're selling like hotcakes, you know. So Mario Odyssey is just gonna keep doing its thing and keep selling, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like when the Switch first came out, you know, a lot of people were skeptical of you know, how it would do, but you know, with Zelda and now with Mario selling a bunch, you know, if they do keep coming out with a kind of big hit game every few months, you know, like, man, you know, the Switch is doing really well, and like SaltiestGaming said, you know, they can kind of follow their own track, which they have been doing away from Sony and Microsoft. So yeah, I'm hyped, you know, to eventually get my hands on the Switch and pick up Mario as well. So I can't wait. And yeah, I mean, you know, good for the game. I'm glad that the Switch is successful and the games that they're coming out with it are. So
yeah, see, I kind of like this little strategy that they got going on, and especially this year with Zelda, you know, at the beginning when the console launched, and then now with the Super Mario Odyssey coming out like last week. So I mean, that kind of hopefully they kind of keep continuing to do that like next year or something like that with either Metroid and then maybe another big huge title that comes out, and kind of like, you know, get people excited about playing that, because I mean Zelda is a deep, huge game, and so is Super Mario Odyssey. So I mean, this Super Mario Odyssey can really take people until next year, or even into, you know,
do you guys think they're gonna have a drought for games after this Mario comes out? Like,
honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, because they came out with Zelda, they came out with Mario, and then they had some other titles, but they usually have this long period of time where it's a development cycle for these bigger games. And I think there might be a drought for them with their IPs. I'm not sure though.
But the thing is, you
that's the only
guys,
thing
I
I'm kind of
mean,
skeptical
just
about.
look at what's coming out in November. You have LA New Order's coming out, and even though it's a remaster, it's an older game. It's still something that kind of tied a Switch owner over, you know, as a third party. And if that third party release does well, then you know you're gonna have others. I mean, Ubisoft is already working with them, especially with Mario Rabbids. I think that did pretty well. But that's an exclusive. But if they can get more third parties to kind of fill in that gap between, you know, one exclusive to the next, they'll be fine.
Yeah, honestly, I think they will because they have they have Wolfenstein 2 coming out next year.
Right.
You know, they'll have
Doom coming this year.
games. Yeah, they have Doom and stuff like that. I think they'll definitely fill that void. I'm just saying, you know, like if they have two really big exclusives next year, I think it's really gonna continue to push the Switch and what Nintendo is doing over there.
Yeah, because that's the biggest surprise in my opinion with the Switch, because when it first came out, because let's be honest, it's a pretty underpowered. You know, I don't know what to call it. It's not a console. I don't know what to call it. It's a gaming device. Basically. Yeah. But the third-party support at right now is good. It's just going to get better because they're selling so many consoles. So these developers are going to want to get it, you know, as many games as they can on the system just to make that money. You know, so I don't know, man. I think the Switch, because it's a big question that I've had with people on social media and stuff like that, is whether or not it's just going to kind of because the sales are really good right now. They're actually higher. The pace is higher than what, you know, Xbox was when it was coming out.
Right.
It's not quite more than PlayStation, but, you know, the sales figures are really good right now. But will they die off if they don't have the Marios or the Zeldas? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's a question for sure, but I don't know.
Well, Stone Gamer did say in the chat that Xenoblade Chronicles is coming out December 2nd, so that's another game that's exclusive to the Switch. That'll be something that people can pick up and play that. So I mean, and that's another big game that's gonna be coming. So I mean, Switch is doing well, and I think it's going to continue to do that. Any thoughts on that, Yukon and all?
I'm just glad I finally got a reason to buy a Switch. I mean, I'm a big Zelda fan. I played pretty much every single one in the series ad nauseum. I love them, but I wasn't going to buy a whole console just for one game. I couldn't do it, even at my worst gamerisms. I didn't think I could do that. But now we got two 10 out of 10s in 1 year. I got a lot of faith in Nintendo now. Yeah. I was worried, but two 10s in 1 year. Most studios don't get a 10 in their lifetime, and they busted out both within months of each other. So I got faith that Nintendo might finally have, all these years of getting beat up with the Wii U, they might have finally learned their lesson, and maybe they're finally going to go on a good path here. And I'm waiting for Medra now. I'm on it.
Definitely. Any other thoughts on Super Mario Odyssey? No? All right. We're going to move on and talk about Paris Games Week. Did you guys see the PlayStation conference? What games are you guys thinking about picking up? Was there anything that was interesting to you, or did you just think it was just trash? I just want to hear you guys' thoughts on that.
They have a lot of cool third-party looking games, a lot of cartoony but still like artsy kind of games that tend to be really, really good because there's a small team working on them and they have a lot of passion in the projects. A lot of those games tend to be really good. But I think the one that stole the show was that samurai game. I forget the name of it, but it's made by the guys that do Infamous.
Yeah.
That game looks like it's going to be another...
I think, or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it.
It looks like it's going to be another Zero Horizon. What is that? Horizon Dawn?
Yeah.
One of those kind of games comes out of nowhere that's a big, huge success. I think that one's going to be a one to watch out for.
Yeah, I agree. I think that game right there was probably on the top of my list right there when I saw the trailer. Well, not really the trailer, but when they were talking about the game, I was just like intrigued, and it kind of pulled me in. The rest of the conference, I was just kind of like, I didn't really care. I liked the trailers. You know, I liked Spider-Man. It looked cool. I didn't really feel Peter Parker was really Peter Parker. But that's just weird. Because he does look weird. He does look weird.
He looks like, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What do you think?
I don't know. He just looks like I don't know, man. He looks old. He has wrinkles on his forehead.
Yeah, it looks like they
Some
took a
people are saying
mocap
he's
of
like,
somebody who was older.
yeah, I mean, he looks like he belongs in like The Last of Us or some other game. I mean, like I don't know. He doesn't look like Peter Parker to me. I'm a big comic book guy, so
Yeah.
I'm big on just the way, because Peter Parker has maintained this image, like the way he looks, and that's definitely not. I know they're going for like the older Peter Parker, but I don't know. There's something wrong with that. I have a problem with it. But the game itself, like the mechanics and everything, look awesome. Insomniac Games, like they made Sunset Overdrive, which I love, and that game is, kind of, it fits the mold, the way you're jumping around and doing other things. So it's going to be amazing, honestly.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
Detroit Become Human kind of intrigued me too, because I mean I like those games. I liked Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. So I think I'll definitely be picking that up. But I mean, there wasn't really much that kind of tickled my fancy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
Ghost
mean-
of Tsushima, that looked really good. I'm interested in that. Detroit Become Human, I'm also interested in, but I am a little bit I'm really excited for that game. I think it's going to have some good story moments, but I'm a little confused about, kind of what part in the world exactly you're going to play, because, of what they've been coming out with it. At one point you're a police officer. In this trailer, you're like just like a house like maid person, so I'm a little bit I'm interested in how exactly the whole story is going to unfold in that. I didn't actually catch like the conference itself, so I don't know if this was in there or not, but Last of Us Part 2, also that trailer, was really, really interesting as well. I liked it a lot. It was pretty brutal, a little bit confusing, if you look at the first one, you have all these characters that you've never met before kind of talking, but I really liked that Last of Us 2 trailer. I thought it was really good. So
they had some major titles, but I think for the most part they had a lot of indies and they had a lot of VR games that I was just like, I'm not interested in that at all.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I watched it. The replay of it, or the replay of the trailers and stuff mostly. Detroit Become Human. I got sold on it this time around. Because they showed that other side, and now it looks like it's going to be a pretty branching story that, the first couple of times I saw it, I really didn't think it was going to be that way. So Detroit Become Human definitely popped higher on my radar after the showing. Everything else I was pretty much, I was already, interested in anyway. So they didn't do anything new with the other titles like Spider-Man and God of War. I mean, I was ready for those first time I saw them. So, I mean, all in all, it was an okay conference. It was just, the new Samurai game, I got to see a little bit more about them. It's Insomniac, so I'm pretty confident in them. But all in all, it was just a rerun with a couple decent highlights, I guess.
The Ghost of Tsushima is by Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
So I got in a juicy, I would say, discussion with Porter Rock on social media, because he was listing off all these games that had all these trailers for, trailers at, Paris Games Conference or whatever. And I was like, okay, because he had this like vague list of, stuff that was coming out, and then he listed off a little bit of the titles that Xbox had. And there was no information on like what his list was like the categories or whatever. But the point I was trying to make is a lot of these games are CGI trailers and they have no dates on them. And then people were bashing Xbox because they, quote unquote, don't have any games. And I was like, well, what is Sea of Thieves? What is State of Decay 2? We know Halo 6 is coming out, based off of the years and the dates that are given. And a lot of the PlayStation people were just dogging on Xbox because they're like, oh, look at all these games, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, how many of them are actually coming out in 2017, 2018, 2019, or 20? So that's a big discussion because I was telling them, they're like, well, because I was like, Phil Spencer changed the way they go about announcing games. He's not going to announce games that are 4 years off anymore. So people were saying, they're like, well, that's not right because people need to know that you're working on games and blah, blah, blah. You're leaving your gamers in the dark. Like, what do you guys think about that whole situation? Like, is Microsoft taking the wrong approach, or like, what's the deal here? I mean,
I think that a lot of these guys who get on Twitter and say things like that, I think a lot of times it's games that they don't want to play. It's not games that we want to. It's like games that they see games on PlayStation that they want to play. We don't, we don't see very many games that we're like very interested in. Like at Paris Games Week, I didn't see very much that I was like, oh, I want to play that. It was, it's mostly, I think, people just want to start a fire, and see how far it can burn, and see how much people will get enraged and crazy about it, and that's a perfect place is Twitter. Because you can hide behind a keyboard and you can just say whatever you want. So, but I think for Microsoft, I think what they're doing is a good thing. I think there's some things that they could do better, and that's give us more exclusive games here and there throughout the year. I think that hopefully when Halo 6 does come out, it won't be like in February or something like that. I hope it is during the holiday season because I think it'll sell better, and and it's Halo, so it's expected to be in the winter time and not in like February or March or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Porter Rock is one of the ones that just be trying to say nonsense though.
No.
Well, it's not. I wasn't saying he was saying nonsense. It was just he was dogging on Microsoft for their approach.
As far as that, I think a roadmap is always good. Because your players want to know, even if they don't have concrete dates, they want to know a roadmap of things that you have coming out. So I think that is good. I mean, you have several games coming out for Xbox, so saying that they don't have anything, I think that's nonsense.
Yeah, because essentially what it boiled down to in the argument is he was saying that Phil was covering his butt. Basically, that if he doesn't announce games that are far out, he can cancel them and not have any, consequences. So I don't know what your take is on that.
I mean,
but that's the thing. They're not doing
sides,
that anymore. They were doing that in the beginning, but they're not doing that anymore. So that argument is completely invalid.
Just from both companies. So. I think, both of them do good things, both of them do bad things. For Microsoft, I like that they don't necessarily get us pumped up for a game, that's really far out. But they also it would be nice to have a little bit of a roadmap, and they also, both companies have had issues with delaying games recently. And for PlayStation, I think that they announce games too soon. Like, to some degree, it's okay. Need to know about a game coming out in 2020 right now. 2018 is fine. 2019, maybe getting into some of those. So I think laying out a roadmap to an extent is okay. But sometimes they try to hype up a little too much with games that are pretty far out there.
Yeah, because
I think out of those big hitters that they showed, which would be Detroit, God of War, and Spider-Man, those are all pretty much 2018 games. Now, if they don't get early 2018, so they may, which PlayStation's the way they do things here lately has been they drop their games at the beginning of the year, and they really, they have the multi-plat deals toward the end of the year. So I would think those games would drop at the beginning, the first half of next year, because if they don't, then I doubt PlayStation's going to put their exclusives versus multiplats in the fall, because that's just not how they've been doing things.
Right.
But, it's just like coming from with a gamer's perspective. This is just my personal opinion. when I go to an E3 and I see pretty much a carbon copy of an E3 that was a year before with little to no changes, I'm seeing the same exact games year from year from year, it kind of loses the hype, you know? Cuphead was announced like 3 years ago, you know? So it ended up being a good game, but you kept seeing it over and over at E3s. If you keep seeing these games over and over, eventually you might lose the hype for the game and it might hurt the game, is just my take on that. But I can see that, you know, gamers want that roadmap. So I see both sides. It's not like an all or nothing proposition for me. I feel like there's truth in both ways that the companies are doing it, if that makes sense. Like, it's not all one way or another. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're going to move on to PlayStation Plus games for November. You guys take a look at some of these games, man. Oh boy, you know, I'm actually gonna tie in games with gold as well with this. So, you guys want to talk about both of them? I think this month is just terrible for the free games, but I mean, it's granted, it makes sense because we have so many really great games coming out this month, and we had last week too. So what do you guys think of these games? You gonna play any of them, or are you just gonna skip them and wait for the next?
I have something to say, but I'll let you guys go first. I've been talking too much.
Yeah, I'll go with
you guess,
start us off. So yeah, most of these games are trash. But so I gotta say, starting off with PlayStation, Worms Battlegrounds. I already have it on Xbox. I think it was a gold game on there. But Worms that could be fun with some people, but you know, it's nothing major. But it is a good little game to throw on there. The rest of the PS Plus games I don't really care about. Bound doesn't look like it's artsy and creative, I think, but it doesn't really look like there's much of a game there. And then they have the VR Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, which obviously if you don't have VR, you're not going to get. And it's just kind of an on wheels experience. As for games with gold, everything there is pretty much trash, except for, I mean, Tales from the Borderlands is you know, I think that's a worthwhile experience. I didn't play it myself. I watched it through YouTube because that's kind of how I like to watch the Telltale games. But you know, that is one of the top Telltale games, I would say, you know, at least in the top 3, up there with Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us. So, but the other games are Trackmania Turbo, which is trash, Nights into Dreams, and Deadfall Adventures. So all those games are, you know, sucky. So.
Agreed. Any other thoughts on the games with gold, guys? And
let Saltiest go ahead, because I think all of it's trash. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the games with gold they've been horrible for like 6 months, you know?
Yeah.
Let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
And ever since Xbox has released their Game Pass, the quality of games with gold has just plummeted. And this is just I don't know. I feel like it's unacceptable per se, because it's like, I understand you're releasing a service and you got to stick your games in there and you got to fill, you know, Game Pass, but also if you're going to be out, you're saying that you're, you know, competing and you want to, you know, make your fans happy. This is pretty much unacceptable in my opinion, because in the end, games are subjective, so it's hard to say, because like some of these games that I think have been trashed for 6 months, I'm sure there's a person out there that's gonna be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, this game's good or this game's good, you know? Like the Borderlands game, the Telltale game, yeah, that's fine, but you know, that's one game, you know? For the most part, these games have been trash, and it's been trash for months. So it's hard not to draw conclusions that they lowered the quality of games with gold, since you can do a side-by-side comparison, which I have, and it's been trash ever since. I don't know if you guys think the same, but that's just my take on it, man.
I have to agree with you on that. I think, you know, the games with gold hasn't really been anything that I'm like interested in as of lately. I think, like you said, with the 6 months, it's been not really that much. I mean, PlayStation Plus has had a couple of games that have been pretty good, but I think for the most part, both services kind of dwindled away from giving us really good games and really focusing on their hardware and their products and stuff like that. I think that they've been kind of like saying, "Oh, we can give you free games, and that's we'll give you these trashy free games, and then you go buy our hardware or whatever." And I think that kind of I don't think that's the right way of looking at it. I think they should give us games that that are somewhat AAA.
Dude, you guys didn't play Slime
really
Rancher?
good indies.
Did you play it?
Hell yeah, I did. I got like 800 Chivos off of that game. I love that game. That game was so fun, man. It was adorable. It was a cute overload. I love that game. But I do agree with you that the games have been not as good as they used to be. I don't know if it's because of the past, but that's probably a good bet. But to me, at the end of the day, they're free. I'm a Chivo hunter, so I load them up and I bang out what I can out of them and I throw them away. I don't know what other people do with them, but I'll probably play that Tales from the Borderlands game. I mean, I say play, I use the air quotes because you don't actually play a Telltale game. You just kind of sit there and you're like, oh, you guys are just going to play this game for me? Oh, that's cool. I love Telltale games. I don't like those things. I think they're boring as shit. Some people like them, whatever. I don't really think they're games. They're just kind of like a movie that you'll choose your own adventure book. I don't know. I'm not into it, but it's free achievement, so I'll play it, whatever.
But I think Tales from the Borderlands is probably the best one on that list, but I already have it.
I have heard good things about the story. I heard it's it's a good thing for whole Borderlands, and I love Borderlands, so I'm excited to see what happens. But from a gamer point of view, I just don't see the draw for him.
Right, they appeal to the point and click almost type of game. I feel
games get a lot of shit for having too many quick time events. I mean, here we got a series where the whole damn game is quick time event. So I don't get it.
Right. Yeah. And I think, for me, those kind of games I like is because, back in the day I used to play those kind of games like, point and click games and stuff. And I think that's why I kind of gravitate towards them because, it's kind of that nostalgia factor. But, I think I kind of agree that it's kind of almost oversaturated with some of these games, especially Telltale, because they definitely pump out like one every single damn month. So I definitely have to agree with you.
Yeah, I kind of agree with. I think we've even echoed that sentiment before here on the show. Like when they introduced the Game Pass, that they started to slack somewhat on the games with gold. So hopefully that won't continue. I would think that Microsoft, especially during this time, because I guess neither one of them really. But I would think that Microsoft would give us something good at least one of these months, But I guess we'll have to see how it turns out. But I definitely think the quality of their games that they've given for free has definitely went down since the Xbox Game Pass was introduced.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, the thing with Xbox is that they could, even with Game Pass, and I know there's back-to-back games in Game Pass, but, I mean, it's not much to boost your games with golds with, back-to-back games. There's plenty of, really good games. Sorry, I can't fucking speak. Games that sold really well, back during the 360 era that they could bring with games with gold that they haven't brung. So I don't see why they don't do that as well. I know that some games have to go, games that aren't already back compat have to go through the process of like copyright issues and everything. But the games that they do have, you could just throw those in games with gold, even if some people already have them. Like at least it's a little boost, especially for younger gamers that didn't get to experience those games, especially the early days of the 360s. So.
Right. Definitely agree. We're gonna move on from the games with gold and the PlayStation Plus. We all know they were trash games this month. They weren't really that great. Hopefully next year we'll have better games, but time will tell. We'll see. But PUBG finally gets a release date for the Xbox One, December 12th. It's coming. Do you guys think that this is coming around at a time where it'll be a good time for it, or do you think it'll be like a bad time for it because of Call of Duty and Star Wars Battlefront? What do you guys think on that?
Well, as I've kind of said before on the show, is like, I haven't necessarily said it can come out at any time, but somebody can hop into this game at any point in its life cycle. So I think, whatever time it does come out, it'll be okay. The fact that it's coming out this year is nice. It's a different experience than Call of Duty. And, there might be some people that pick it up and, maybe get COD for Christmas or something as well. I know I'll be playing it because I'll be on Christmas break, which will be awesome. And it is coming out in game preview, which I know some people have a issue with game preview, like it has this bad connotation, but honestly, kind of makes sense for this game. It is, a game that's gonna be having a lot of updates for a long period of time, new maps added and so on and so forth, and glitches being fixed. So I think that makes sense for it as well. So I'm excited to get my hands on this game.
Nice, definitely. Saltiest, what did you think?
Oh man, I've talked so much about PUBG. It feels like it's
it feels like a year,
it's been
right?
like 2 or 3 years that we've been waiting for this game to come out. But yeah, man, I mean, I did a video on this. I think it's awesome that it's coming out in December because, let's be honest, Blue Hole's a smaller studio, so that they've been. No one expected the game to do this. It's 2 million concurrent players is crazy. I mean, they're doing this. They're shattering records. So this game is huge. It's everybody wants to play it. Not everybody, but a lot of people want to play it. So it's going to move consoles. I've had discussions with my friends, and we were talking about. One of my friends brought up how good it's going to run on the base Xbox, and that's definitely something to think about because. Let's be honest, the Xbox One X compared to the Xbox original or the S is just a no contest kind of a thing, So I'm kind of worried about like the quality of play for the original or whatever for people that aren't upgrading to the X.
Well,
I
can say as far as Assassin's Creed looks beautiful on the S. I'm just saying it looks great. So I mean, PUBG is not very graphic heavy. Because, I mean, I know but Assassin's Creed has more detail to it, so I don't know.
Maybe Dealer Gaming in his podcast was having an argument, I think, with one of the people in chat because they were like, well, the frame rate is tied to the CPU, and he's like, no, it's tied to the GPU. So if it's a GPU situation, so it depends on what they're doing. Like, I don't know, I'm not like behind closed doors when Blue Hole is developing this game, but they were saying that they achieved a 40 frames per second back in July. So, and I'm pretty sure that they're developing for the X, but it's still ported over for the Xbox, the base model. So we shall see, but. The release date, I don't think it matters what game is coming out in December, honestly. COD can be coming out, Battlefront could be coming out, because it's not the same type of game. It's not the same genre, Yeah. I don't think anybody compares those games together because it's just its own thing. This Battle Royale concept is new relatively, and people are getting into it. So I think it's going to do extremely well. I've been singing its praises for a while. I just want the game to come out so we can move on, kind of, what I'm saying? Like, we've been talking about this for a while. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're going to keep talking about it because once it comes out on the Xbox One, we're going to, be playing it. We're going to be, sharing our experiences about it too. And
now, does anybody think that the success of Fortnite? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Does anybody think the success of Fortnite's Battle Royale, and especially the fact that it's free, does anybody think that's going to take away from PUBG at all?
Oh my God, no! I got something to say about Fortnite. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, go ahead, man.
No, go ahead, man.
I just got a lot of takes on this. I mean, I got the monster going. Anyway, Fortnite is garbage. In my opinion, it's garbage. I mean, you compare the two games. So we were talking about netcode, and that's like the netcode's an issue in Fortnite. Like, you're playing the base game. And it has a lot of lag and stuttering, and you're talking about like not even realistic graphics. The hit detection in that game, I've had arguments with people over this, but I feel like, because they're like, oh, it's bullet, the bullet has traveling time and all this. I'm like, no. I've played first-person shooters. I played shooters pretty much my whole gaming life, and I can tell when the hit detection is garbo, and it is in that game. The reason why it's seeing the numbers that it's seeing is it's free to play, and people are kind of just biding their time over. When you talk about PlayStation, though, you're going to see the numbers stay high because they want an experience like that because they don't have that on console. But once PUBG drops, Fortnite, forget about it. I mean, there's some people out there that will stay with that game, but I played it and it is just, I don't know. I don't like it.
Well,
So,
I think
you guys,
I think Xbox players will go towards PUBG more because of the fact that their friends will probably be there, and and I think PUBG's gonna do well. I don't think Fortnite's gonna take anything from it because I mean I played a little bit of Fortnite and I turned it off and uninstalled it because I was like I'm not playing this because I don't like that base building kind of thing. I don't like that kind of stuff. I just like to get in, shoot some people, and get out. But Yukon, what do you think about it, man?
I think Fortnite is only helping PUBG with the hype around it, all the drama, all that stuff. I think that's why PUBG is not really fighting back too badly because they know that all this hype is going to get their game more units sold. But I don't think PUBG is going to have a very big base on the Xbox because I think although all the reasons that Saltiest is talking about are all legit and I can't argue any of them, I can say that the more casualness of Fortnite is really gonna appeal to the base of Xbox. We're talking about Call of Duty kids that are 13. They don't want to get murdered in PUBG, and PUBG is a lot more hardcore of a game, and that's what a lot of people like about it. But I don't think that a lot of the base of the Xbox community is going to be able to hang with that game. I think they're going to fall back on Fortnite because it's a lot more player friendly and a lot more noob friendly. I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're entitled to your opinion, but it's wrong.
all right.
I'm just kidding, dude. Beans, what do you think about the whole PUBG? Well, you already talked about it. I think Remix hasn't talked about it yet, right?
Yeah.
Nah, I started, bro.
No, you didn't talk about because he was asking us the question about do we think that PUBG's gonna or Fortnite's gonna take away from PUBG?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it'll be interesting to see. I know that, like, personally, I'll be much more interested in PUBG, but I am kind of that hardcore shooter player. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I think PUBG, it does have the name. We've talked about, the king before. Like, I bring this up sometimes on the show. So, PUBG is the king of the battle royale games right now. So I do think that PUBG is going to take over, but you also have to realize, PUBG, you have to pay for that, and for Fortnite, you don't have to pay anything. So there might be some hesitation there. People might wait to see how it plays out, but overall, I do think that PUBG would be the bigger game in the end. But we'll have to wait and see. And I haven't played the Fortnite Battle Royale mode yet, but it does sound like it has some issues and it would need some fixing if it's going to compete. So,
all right. Well, we're gonna get away from PUBG because we've been talking about it for almost 10 years now. So Need for Speed Payback has some loot boxes that people are kind of considering paid to win because the fact that they are being able to upgrade their cars to the maximum. Some of these loot boxes have them basically skipping the grind of the game. And I know a lot of people would probably want to do that because the grinding apparently in the game is very tedious, and a lot of people I don't think would want to do that. But what do you guys think about these loot boxes being something more along the lines of NBA 2K or Star Wars Battlefront? What do you guys think?
I think that this is a cancer that's coming on the goddamn gaming industry, and it's slowly but surely. Like right now, I don't think it's nearly as bad as everybody says it is. Honestly, I mean, I'm playing Assassin's Creed. It's got microtransactions. I actually looked at the store for the first time today in case it came up on the podcast. it's pretty. You know, there's weapons and there's armor and there's a unicorn. Obviously, I want that, but I'm not spending money on it. But there's other stuff that is, it might seem innocuous, but I think it's pretty bad because they got the experience boosters, the things that get rid of the grind. And the thing with this new racing game is that you get rid of the grind. That's like 80% of the game. You're grinding to get stuff to do the races. Right. So if you're taking away 80% of the game with, you know, $5, what am I spending all this money for? Is it taking away everything from the game? And how is the game going to be? Now it's going to be made so that people can just spend money, and everything's going to be kind of tuned to where the microtransactions are a part of the game. And now, so the grinding will be even worse because they want you to spend the money. It's getting. I just saw something today in I think Polygon or Kotaku talking about in the new Call of Duty coming up. They have it where there's a social space and you can open the loot boxes in front of other people, and it shows what you get in the loot box. It's like a big old thing. It's a big, you know, event. There's even quests in the game to go watch other people open the fucking loot boxes. This is becoming a fucking problem, man. It's becoming a fucking problem.
Government.
Going to the fucking beginning, and I don't see it going away.
Go ahead, Salty.
I mean, it's getting to a point with these loot boxes that governments are getting involved. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but the UK is basically investigating, you know, microtransactions and loot boxes because it is a form of gambling. There's a lot of people that go back and forth on it, but the definition is you pay a little sum of money to get something that, you know, essentially would be worth more money. You know, let's say that you get a legendary item. If they put a monetary value on that legendary item, it'd be like what? If you put a number to it, like like $10 for a legendary item, but you pay $1 for the loot box, you get a $10 item for $1 essentially. But you have to, you have to hope that it pops up for you, and you get some crap, you know, items there. But it is out of control. Me and Fonz have talked about this topic a lot, and a lot of people just, you know, accept it, and they think that, hey, you know, microtransactions are a necessary evil. That's one of the things that I've heard. It's like, no, it's not. It's not a necessary evil. You know, it's just our voices can be heard, as we saw with Battlefront 2, because
right.
You know, people talked about that. They said, we're not going to stand up for this shit. You know, this pay to win garbage. We're not about that. You know, we're not about you guys putting star cards in here. They give people an advantage. And then EA had to buckle because of the backlash. So the voices of gamers can have an effect on the industry. We just have to not put up with this shit. And it's getting out of hand, you know. And COD is one of the most egregious offenders of microtransactions. They have like guns that you get in their loot boxes that other people can't get. And those guns, if they're good, they're gonna mow you down. So the fact that, you know, so the fact that they're having this, I didn't hear that, so thank you, by the way. For bringing that up. I heard of the social space, but the fact that you're opening your loot box in front of people, you might as well stick it in a slot machine and have people go sit down and get free drinks while they're doing it, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it pops smoke like that old they call that kill streak when you get a care package in Call of Duty. It does that in the middle of the social space, and everybody gathers around to come watch it. That's a problem. That's a sign.
It is.
Well, dude, you know, it's the problem of, you know, some of these casual gamers out there that just want to watch YouTubers open these loot boxes as well. You know, they just like watching these people open them, and these YouTubers will spend thousands of dollars on these damn loot boxes. So of course it's keeping them in business. You know, when they say, oh, we made a lot of money off of, you know, this game, it's because they made a lot of money off the YouTubers who are buying these damn loot boxes for these games. And you know, like you guys said, it's a problem. It's a real problem, and it needs to kind of deplete, and our voices need to be heard, and we need to keep talking about it and keep saying things about it, and keep hearing about it in the news, because, you know, I didn't even know about the social space. I didn't even know anything about that, but I knew about the UK basically making it as a gambling thing, and I think, you know, we should consider it a gambling thing as well, because I mean it is basically gambling, because we don't know if we're going to get the gun that we want. Exactly. We don't know if we're going to get, you know, the cool outfit that we want or whatever, you know, and that's a huge problem. And you know they continue to do it because they can get away with it, because our you know, our society has been susceptible to it, and that's not good for a lot of us gamers out there.
Yeah, we've been talking about this topic on the show a lot lately as well. Yeah, man, loot boxes, like, I'm fine if they're cosmetic, but really the pay to play shit needs to go away. I'd say one of the spots where like this got more popular was CS:GO. Now in CS:GO it is all cosmetic, but you know, there is a lot of, you know, like gambling like sites in there, actual gambling sites where you're, you know, betting skins that have, you know, a few hundred to couple $1,000 values on them, which is crazy. And, you know, I feel like when you go on YouTube and you look up CSGO, you see more fucking loot box unboxing videos than actual gameplay. But within Need for Speed for itself, yeah, you know, they have speed cards in these loot boxes that upgrade the stats on your car. And, you know, that just, it makes the company, like, they start putting grindy areas in the game just so you buy these speed cards, which is messed up. As well as, I don't know if it does, but if this does transfer over to multiplayer, you know, again, it's that pay-to-play aspect, which, you know, is the real thing that just needs to be completely exterminated, you know, right away. You know, I think that's the biggest fear of all gamers. I do agree with Leo. Like, it hasn't gotten to an outrageous point yet, but it's getting there. And, well, I would say, actually, you know, like, some of the Call of Duties, like, Advanced Warfare is where the loot boxes started. The fucking loot boxes in that game were outrageous. Like, I went away from that game, but then, like, videos later in its lifespan, it's like the amount of guns that they add to that game that, you know, are just slightly different stats with new skins on them and shit. Like, it is crazy.
And you know what? I'm guilty of actually buying some loot boxes for that game. And after that, I was like, never again, because I never got anything good from them. You know, I was just like, why am I freaking buying these? And even Call of Duty Black Ops 3 even started doing it. I know they started with the cosmetics in the beginning, but then they were like, oh, we're gonna add weapons to the loot box, and it was just like, you guys said you weren't gonna do that, and now you're doing it. And I mean, I know Activision kind of pushed them into doing it because that's what Activision's doing now. They're basically bullying themselves in the industry and basically saying, hey, we're here to make money and we don't care about the gamer. And that's really sad, man.
And if you look at the wording that they use for World War II in terms of its loot boxes, the wording definitely does say we will only have cosmetics in the beginning. But after, well, we'll see. You know, like they're
right.
And I'm pretty sure with the whole social space thing, this isn't confirmed, but I heard it in the wind. That also people that gather around and watch other people watch loot boxes, they get some kind of reward as well for doing that. So it just creates like this nasty fucking cycle. So
we might even have to say goodbye
really
to. If we really want these to go away, we might even have to say goodbye to loot boxes that give us just cosmetic things, because these publishers cannot be trusted to just keep it to cosmetic. They don't, no matter what. They'll give you a million cosmetic things, but there'll always be a few in the corner saying, well, if you want to spend $50, here will beat the game for you, and that's always going to be there. So I don't know if we can have it to take a harder stance, but I don't see that happening. That's for sure.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
No, I think, you know, honestly, I play Overwatch, and they have those the skins for sale and stuff like that. If they had like a monetary price on those, people would still buy them. They'd still make lots of money, you know. So it's not tied to these loot boxes. They don't have to do this, you know.
No, they don't.
Tons of money on cosmetics. The gamers will buy it if they want to have, you know, the look there. So
well, that's the thing. it's shoved in your face, and it's tantalizing because you're like, you see a weapon or you see something in there that you're like, you know, a lot of people have ADOS, you know, attention deficit shiny, you know, it's just basically, oh hey, there's a loot box, you know, and they just go off, and it's not just, you know, the YouTubers either, you know, it's a lot of the, you know, casual gamers as well, you know, they're buying loot boxes too. But I mean, for the majority, it's those YouTubers who are really pushing it because they have the money to do so, and they have, you know, a lot of money to do so. So I mean, you know, and it's not a good thing. I don't think we should have loot boxes at all.
Yo, and before we, you know, kill off this topic, I just did think of something. You know how we were talking about the other week, how Activision has a patent to pair marquee players with lots of skins with players that don't have many skins or new players or whatever. I was just thinking about, you know, like they could probably implement this not in the actual matchmaking system itself for games, but into that social space, because of, you know, obviously if you have these players with marquee players opening boxes in the middle of the social space and everybody's gathering around and seeing that, you know, you want other players without as many skins to be gathering around and seeing that, and then that's another way to entice them without actually implementing it into the matchmaking core matchmaking system. So that's a little sneaky move.
Yeah,
they could do.
Definitely. So we're gonna move on from the loot boxes. We kind of beat that one to death because, you know, it's a touchy subject for a lot of us hardcore gamers. But we're gonna move on to Razer. They just created a smartphone. They're saying that it's basically for gamers, but when I looked at it, I was all like, and this is just for like people who are casual gamers that are mobile, you know, gamers in the first place, like you know, Candy Crush kind of people. I was just like, I have no interest in this phone at all. What do you guys think of the Razer, their smartphone? I mean, it looks cool. It's square, you know, it looks, the screen's big. It looks like a big phone, but what do you guys think of it?
Real quick, it's got some, you know, it looks sleek. It's got some, you know, big numbers in it, like 8 gigs of RAM and such. But like, and I know there are some pretty large games on phones, actually, you know, some pretty in-depth games. But overall, it's mobile gaming. Most people are playing games like Candy Crush and stuff, so who cares? And it has no headphone jack, so screw that. Anyways, though, I have to be heading out of here, so y'all boys have a good one. Everybody in the crowd, thanks for coming out, and hit me up on Twitter, and peace.
And so
the thing is,
go ahead.
The thing about this phone is that they didn't mention, is it going to be its own thing like a Windows phone, or is it going to be like an Android phone? I think that's a big selling factor. If it's not an Android phone, they might as well not even make it, because those things die faster than anything because they don't have their own market. There's no point to having, if you're not an Android or an iPhone at this point, the market is too too closed off. But I think if this, I do miss the headphone jack, but I mean I got an iPhone like Optimus. I know he's an Apple fanboy, and there's no headphone jack in this new one. But
I love it, man. No headphone jack. It's courage, buddy. Courage.
I did get used to it because, you know, I got the new little lightning jack or whatever the fuck. But I think that if I'm gonna buy an $800-900 phone and I'm an Android guy, I'm gonna buy a phone with all kinds of badass specs. I think that's kind of a no-brainer personally. It just depends on what platform they want to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, if they're trying to like hit the gamers with this phone, it's not going to hit any hardcore. I mean, you're going to spend that much on this. You're going to go out and buy yourself a Switch with some games. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, if you're going to buy a phone anyway, if I'm buying a Samsung Galaxy 15 or whatever the fuck, or I'm going to buy this Razer fancy phone, and they're like, hey, you can play, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto 3 on it, you know, whatever games you can download on there.
Yeah.
I might lean that way, you know what I mean? Rather than just get a phone for $900 or whatever the fuck. But
yeah.
but I agree with you that they're not gonna get gamers coming out of nowhere like winding up like, oh man, I can't wait to get my new gaming phone. Like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
This shit's a gimmick. Let's just call it how it is, man. I mean, they make laptops and stuff like that for gaming, but this I don't understand like who are they marketing exactly? Like, essentially, it's a powerful phone, but like, why wouldn't I stick with Android or Apple? You know, like, what is this offering me? I read the specs on the website. And I'm like, there's not like a controller that you can plug in here or like something. Like, give me something that would, you know, qualify this as a gaming phone. It just seems gimmicky to me, you know. So I don't get it, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's not something that I would get. That's for sure.
exactly, and that's why I'm thinking to myself, like, who is this marketed for? Like you said, you know, it's like it doesn't seem like they're marketing for gamers. It just seems like they're marketing, you know, just to, you know, get into the phone business. And I don't, like Leo said earlier, you know, it's not a time to do that because we got the Android, we got the Samsung, and we got Apple, and they're killing it right now on both sides. So I mean, it's really hard for all these other phones to kind of jump in and try to do that. So I don't think
if there's no headphone jack, you know what that means? That means you need a Bluetooth headset. And that's gonna drain the shit out of your battery. Most Bluetooth headsets suck unless you spend like $400 fucking on them. Most of them are shitty. So now I got to buy a Bluetooth headset. I don't know, man. I'm not willing to embrace it. The only reason I got this iPhone is because I could click in a little dongle fancy thing and use my regular headset. So all right, fine. You kicking me, Dragon? 22nd century or whatever the hell fucking Steve Jobs' ghost wants me to do, but. I'm not willing to do fucking Bluetooth headset, dude. Like that's just another shit I gotta charge, another thing I gotta hold on to. Like make it easier, not harder. That's all I'm saying.
Definitely. Any other thoughts on the Razer smartphone at all? Bane's like, I'm straight on that, man. I don't even give a fuck about that damn smartphone. But that was it for the evening, folks. We had a blast tonight. It was awesome to have Saltiest Gaming on. So Saltiest Gaming, let us know where we can find you, man.
All right, shameless plug time. Saltiest Gaming, 2 words. I've been on YouTube relatively short amount of time. I've only been on since June. The channel's growing quick. I do gaming news in general, but mostly Xbox. I did a video today about and there's a guy that talked about it from the higher up. He was VP in Microsoft. He was talking about the VR and, you know, if it's going to be coming to the Xbox One X. So yeah, check that out. I'm trying to drop videos every day. So yeah, Saltiest Gaming, 2 words.
Nice.
That's it for my plug.
Definitely. Yukon, where can we find you, man?
Yukon Cornelius over here on the Xbox Live, you know, playing games, hunting chivos. I don't have a fancy YouTube channel, unfortunately. I don't have a Twitter handle. I don't have any of that cool stuff. Maybe I should get one if I'm going to be coming on the Quest podcast more often. We'll see about that.
Yeah, definitely. Sir M. Baines, where can we find you, man?
M. Baines 99, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch. Probably have to give you a long ass code for that one, so worry about it. Other than that, man, that's it.
Alrighty, and that was your host.
Real quick. I enjoy having Saltiest on here. I want you to come back through, and y'all will be seeing Leo again. This is home now.
Yeah, I like it.
Definitely. And I was your host, Dark Optimus, for the evening. You guys can find me on Twitter at the same name. You can also find me on Xbox Live and Saltiest Gaming. Absolutely a blast having you on here tonight, man. It was so much fun. Also, if you guys like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe. We do appreciate it a lot. And we're out, people. Have a good evening.
Peace.
Peace.